Johnny has the microphone, and he's sitting next to our first special guest tonight. It's Christy Powell from Secular Sexuality. Hey, Christy.
Hey, great show so far. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Yeah. So House Call actually sets me up pretty well.
Yeah.
Because I know you've got an axe to grind against Coco the gorilla.
Oh, man, you're going to bring that up here and now?
Yeah,
I will start fighting,
You're going to
Christy.
have to face everybody.
I will fight everyone about Coco the gorilla.
Fantastic. This will be the highest rated episode once it gets picked up. But no, so on the drive down, I'm listening to this audiobook. It's like 30 hours long. I'm an hour from the end of it. I've been loving it so far, and it's all about neurobiology and comparative psychology, and we're talking about the human brain versus the animal brain and all these things, and so far I'm on board with all of it. And the writer at the very end starts to talk about the uniqueness, the specialness, like Hal was saying, of humans, and how humans are the only species that know that we are alive. And this I think, therefore, I am kind of philosophy.
Yeah.
And I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around it. I was really curious if you had a hot take, I suppose, about animal psychology, or really just the notion that human beings are the only creatures that have that type of self-awareness or other unique aspects of our humanity.
So I'm not an expert. I'm not a biologist. I'm sure the fine biology students here at the UTSA's campus could probably give a great explanation. I will say what we have defined as self-awareness, at least as my knowledge in the history of like animal psychology study, has been debatable in some senses. Like you've heard about how dolphins and chimps and other animals have tried to put like dots on their heads, and we try to see, and they look in the mirror, can they see themselves, stuff like that. So like, the big problem, of course, is we can't communicate with these animals. They can't tell us exactly how they think and feel. What's interesting, though, is that chimps and gorillas, as you know, Christy, are very closely related to us.
99%, I hear.
98%, I hear too. I hear that too. And that also means that many of the same systems that they've developed, the systems that feel pain, the systems that develop in their visual cortex and other things, are similar to us, right? Like, I assume, Christy, that you are not a robot and are a human being. I haven't looked at your insides, but I make that assumption because your biology, at least on the outside, appears to be the same. I think it's reasonable to make the same kinds of assumptions for animals such as apes that do have similar kinds of systems as far as what they can feel in that regard. What that means for their psychology, can they suffer long term? Can they have trauma? I mean, we can only observe on the outside. I will say, when you look at a cat or a dog that's been on the street for a long time, they definitely look like they're suffering more so than any other animal that's been groomed by human beings. So I think there's reason to believe that they probably have some sort of cognizance that we can look at. But I'm just a dude like with a microphone on campus right now. I'm definitely not an expert on that. So that's my take.
I just stole my microphone from him, so
exactly. And you are too, Christy. That's the cool thing. We're just like dudes that talk about stuff. Which actually, you're more qualified than me, I would say. Your field of expertise is much more related to your show than for mine.
It's a sex show, so I've got lots and lots and lots of expertise.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So, Christy, thanks so much for that question. And Johnny's going to bring it over to another one of our special guests here tonight. We have Jim Barrows from the ACA's very own Atheist Experience. Welcome, Jim.
Hey, thank you. We talked a little bit about, had some questions about community and finding it. Obviously, if you're out in San Antonio and around the university, the SSA is a great place to go looking. Because I would imagine if you're not actually able to be a member, you can at least hang out with them, and then maybe they have connections to other communities, atheist communities. But if you're someplace that doesn't have that or not near Austin, you can look for keywords like humanist. If you go into Meetup or Facebook and you're looking locally. Humanist Society of Greater Phoenix was my first atheist organization. So if you go looking for Humanist Society, there's multiple of those organizations. It's a national organization. But secular is another keyword you can use. Free thinker, skeptic society. So you can look for all those keywords to find other organizations. Atheist AA, or American Atheists, has local chapters, and so you can find national organizations that have local chapters and see if there's a local chapter near you.
Yep.
And if I remember my ACA history, we got started in the back room of a local eatery, local restaurant. Human Society of Greater Phoenix got started the same way. Both organizations ended up with their own place to hang out. And so that's a possibility. Don't be afraid to start your own organization in the back room of Denny's or some other local restaurant.
Dude, the Denny's Atheist group has the hottest takes. Let me tell you, way better than the IHOP one.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, any place that has a back room where you can rent it for an hour or two, and be consistent about showing up once a month or once a week or whatever your schedule's gonna be, and give it 6 months to a year before you throw in the towel. Because it can take a while to build an organization and to build a community and to find people if you're doing it yourself. But definitely start your look online. Facebook and Meetup are great places to get started. Looking for your local atheist group, and again, just go looking for those keywords. Any other keywords you can think up as well, because sometimes we don't want that atheist label hanging out there.
It's true. The internet has been a really cool thing for atheists. Shout outs to y'all who were atheists and were hanging out like before the internet was a thing, because I can't imagine. I really can't. Like my journey with my atheism was like so integral with the internet, which is really funny to say. But we are actually at the closing end of our show tonight. So that's a great way to end the show, Jim. I really appreciate you giving us some info on that.